Hello, hello, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Alec.
I'm Leo.
And we're the Brit Pops. Hang on a minute. Who are these what think that they can name themselves after the history-defining and musically pivotal rock and roll era of the 1990s? How arrogant, how audacious, how appropriate. That's right. You clicked on the link, you read the blurb, you knew what you were getting into. A bit of raw, unadulterated rock and roll all up in your lug holes. Of course, the reality is that you're actually getting the rambling thoughts of two inexperienced, relatively banal, and at best mildly amusing middle-aged British fathers. The Brit Pops is catchier. Nice to see you again, Rog, as always. Today, we bring you anecdotes from our checkered past as thespians and talk about some of our favourite memories of each other. This episode also sees us looking at all things changing, both literally and figuratively. And we discuss this in riveting detail. You will hear of our foibles, of which there are many, and our new dad skills as we navigate the infamous maintenance of baby hygiene and well-being. At the very least, there are a whole host of beneficial what not to do's. So grab your beverage of choice, sit back, relax, or get those steps in, and without further delay, listen to how men can change.
Record-a-lig.
I'm a changing man. Whoa.
Light a bit of fuse.
Oh, light up a fuse. Oh, no, that was a bad idea. Quick, blow it out. Quick.
I would like Paul Weller's voice, please, in my throat.
Yeah, that would be a good voice to have, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, great voice.
You'd get all the ladies then, Leo, for a change.
And he's got that kind of rock and roll spindly look, hasn't he?
He has got that rock and roll.
Sort of Jagger, Bill Nye, who was in the film About Time. Look.
Here we go.
Here we go. Done.
It's going to be a segment. It's going to be a thing. All right, well, just go into a bit more detail for me about how Paul Weller and the film About Time marry up seamlessly.
There we go.
Thing is, though,
shoehorned.
It's in. It's there now. Forever. Bill Nye or Paul Weller. So that was The Changing Man by Paul Weller, released in 95, so definitely within the 90s. It was on the album Stanley Road.
Top album.
Yep. I think you're more familiar, rightly or wrongly, you're more familiar with this gentleman than me. But yeah,
I thought he was in the Culture Club.
Oh, that was a stunner. That was an absolute stunner. So the other day, I will probably have a mention about us meeting by the lake and having a walk around. That was lovely. But yeah, we met up, we had a walk, and we were talking about things we might do on the podcast. And we were on about Paul Weller and Changing Man, and you saying to me that he's in a band before or after the Jam. I'm like, it's the Jam, innit? And all that, because I'm not that familiar with him. And you're like, it's the Culture Club. And I'm like,
it's like all real soft poppy rock music that you wouldn't associate with him. It's Culture Club.
And I'm like, I'm trying to be really, really nice. And I'm like, the Culture Club, like Karma Chameleon, Culture.
I'm like, no, you're right. It isn't that.
Boy George.
Style Council.
Paul Weller in the back.
You can see what I've done though. Style Council and Culture Club.
Oh, I know how you've got there. Yeah, Paul Weller in the background on a harmonica. Nice one. So yeah, no. Interestingly, and I don't know if this is controversial given the brand that we've created and firmly cemented by now, but apparently the genre, when I've had a wiki peek, is blues rock and alternative rock, and there's no mention of Britpop. Do we agree with that, though, Leah?
I always think that again, Paul Weller is like perhaps a league above some of the kind of rock and rolly Britpop that was kicking about. He was, I don't know, but he was definitely, for me, he was a big part of it. That mid-90s, it's great music.
Oh, he's amazing. He's the mod father, wasn't he?
Yeah. I guess
it will have fed into it. That's the thing, because he's pre, isn't he? I think that's the thing. Is he's well and truly established pre. But yeah, I mean, the video. We should probably talk about the actual music video that you heard the clip of there. The Changing Man. First thing we noticed was he did a lot of actual literal changing of clothes, didn't he?
Yeah, you can see they've had a good meeting. They've sat around and thought, well, here's the lyrics.
What do you think we should do?
What should we do?
What do you think we should at the very least do?
Yeah. How many changes do you think? Maybe a dozen outfits?
Oh, yeah.
But he's definitely in a couple of the shots, like they've not got that many clothes. So he's wearing that jacket with that shirt, and then
they've doubled up, haven't they?
And all of that. No, yeah.
Yeah, and I tell you what, he looks very good. He's a very sexy man in that video.
Although there's a bit of a theme with when we watched Girls and Boys with Blur last time, is that they didn't arse around as much with videos as they do now. They just sort of sing the song in front of this, and we'll whack a few graphics on it and go down the pub. Yeah,
get it done. Get a shot of it, sort it out, get down the boozer. They're on a podium. Paul Weller's sat there on a chair in front of a screen thing, and it's spinning, and on every time it spins around, he's wearing a different costume. It's not very highbrow, is it? But the lyrics are amazing.
Yeah.
And the clip that I chose for this episode, I really thought was quite fitting with what we're going to talk about today with changing and whatnot. The other thing that struck me, and I don't know if this is going to be a theme, but doesn't he look like Liam Gallagher in that video?
No, he looks like Damon Albarn, who looks like Liam Gallagher.
They all look the same.
They do.
It's just they've all got that thing going on. Brilliant. Well, not much else to say about that. There's not much to pull apart because it's pretty decent.
Yeah, it's solid, isn't it? Solid bit of work.
So sorry, guys, we can't really take the piss too much. I thoroughly enjoy that.
Well done, Paul.
Well done, Paul. You're a bloody legend. I promise I'll listen to some of your stuff now.
Yeah, the whole of Stanley Road on repeat for a week. It's just amazing.
I will, dead loud. Sam will love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, welcome. It's the evening now. I'm going to crank it. I'm going to have a few shorts, crank it up, and then I'll be single by morning.
Perfect.
So preferably. So welcome, guys. Welcome to episode 4. Would you believe it? Leo, why don't you give a rundown what happened last time?
I can be brief. We talked about grown-up stuff, didn't we? We talked about houses, trying to purchase them, purchasing them, fixing them up,
putting in offers,
playing the game, and then we talked about relationships, specifically the impact of the new wee baby Ben in the house, and the inevitable changes that might take place in your relationship.
So a nice migration from that to this, the theme of changing.
Yes.
Interesting. I can tell
Evolution, not revolution.
Oh, that sounds
evolve, I don't revolve.
Oh, I say. I tell you, I can't handle this. No. This sort of sounds like Paul wrote it himself. So yeah, that if you have any inclination to find out what the hell we're on about and who we are, then go back and check out that previous episode. In fact, you probably want to go back to the beginning if you're halfway interested.
We've got a back catalogue now. It's like listening to Morning Glory and you've not even bothered with Definitely Maybe. Look, come on, get your act together.
Yeah, well, but every episode is as strong as the last. I'm sure you'll agree. And there's plenty of content already. We're not always that concise, are we, mate?
No.
But yeah, please go and check it out. Please hit download because we've got the analytics.
The software tells us how many people haven't listened every week.
Do you know what? We know exactly how many people are not listening. So tell you what, go and have a download. We'll be big one day and then you'll be sorry. So what are you drinking, mate?
I've gone back on the red wine out of the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, haven't I?
Oh, God, he's got the goblet out again. Monty Python are after that.
It's not the cup of a carpenter.
It's really not. That looks like it belongs on a ceiling hanging upside down. I've got...
What have you got?
I've got a Greenalls, pink. Isn't a colour, it's a state of mind. Wild berry pink gin and tonic. And I've had this out the very back of the fridge. In fact, I could see Narnia.
when you when your partner stops breastfeeding, she's going to be absolutely furious. Get into the fridge. Where is everything?
Yeah, I know. I'm not bothered.
No.
So it was in the very back. Pink isn't a colour; it's a state of mind. I beg to differ.
Could be both.
Don't you?
Well, you got to pigeonhole it.
It's an outrageous statement, really, isn't it?
Crack it out. Let's hear the can fizz. Come on.
Yeah. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, let's have a go.
The underwhelming crack of a very small, dainty can.
I don't know if it's that nice.
Anyway.
Might have to hit the old top shelf. So anyway, welcome, guys. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to go into the past a little bit and discuss some of the stuff that we've got up to as youngsters with our thespian days and stuff like that. And then later on, the meat, when we get into it, we're going to talk about things like nappy changing, hygiene and well-being, and also our evolution as men, like how we've changed. So I suppose we better delve right into and talk about, before we do that, how the girl's doing. How's Zoey-lander?
Zoey-lander, she is good. Yeah, it feels like this last few days has been like a big step change for her. So all sorts of things have happened. Like she's laughing away now, which we talked about, but she's rolling, so she can now roll independently.
Keep rolling, bowling.
And that led me to instantly having to like gather some things up that are in different places on the floor that she could put in her mouth and choke.
Oh, so no.
Now it's just that kind of, she could technically roll over to there. So now we've had to do a quick scout about get rid of all the,
so like she could see something on the other side of the room and then like just roll a few times.
So, I've had to pick up all the grenades and knives that are lying around and all that sort of stuff.
No way.
Yeah, and then I put the first little bit of like proper food in her mouth of the day. So she sits at the table with us now when we eat. We've bought her one of these chairs, these crazy chairs that they've got.
Yeah.
I forgot it's called, but she can go right up to the table with you. And she just like intently stares at us eating and gives it the full Oliver Twist eyes. Do you know what I mean?
Please,
just not even more, just a bit.
That's a morsel, please.
And we were there eating. Harry made her speciality. It's much better than it sounds. Pea and mint soup. It is delicious. She makes it. It's banging. And Zoe's just there watching you methodically spoon it into your own mouth, and she's just tracking the spoon. So I said to H, just like, oh, come on, let's wang a bit in her mouth and see what happens. And wait for it to cool down responsibly and put it in her mouth.
Of course, yes.
She was bemused, completely bemused.
This isn't milk.
No real reaction. It was just a kind of, so this is what you guys spend your time doing. She was underwhelmed. And then, so she's been good. It's like, I don't know, it just feels like she's taken, because they plateau sometimes and you kind of get into a rhythm for a few weeks, don't you? And
yeah.
Now she's onto bigger bottles. She's got these giant bottles that are as big as her torso, and she just guzzles one down. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, pretty good fun.
She's getting big, isn't she now?
Yeah, we've seen her now, and we've locked down restrictions ease, and we've actually had a little meet up, didn't we? So
yeah, a couple of days ago we went to the old lake, didn't we? And we had a walk around that. That was very eventful. And they met for the first time, didn't they?
Yeah. Zoey and the Penny-tentiary.
Yeah, the Pirates of Penzance. She's big though, Penny. She's like getting on for the same size.
She's like as big as mine, mate.
No, I know, not quite, but she will be.
Yeah,
it's unreal how big she is, carrying that thing around. But no, it was lovely. That was a real moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was nice.
Like walking around in the sun with our babies.
Yeah, we stood them up in front of each other, and Zoe grabbed and just touched Penny's hand quite lightly. Given any more rope, and she would have grabbed that hand and wanged it in her mouth. But
yeah,
we like to think she was just shaking hands.
Yeah, it was like, when like people on the other side of the glass and kind of like you are one of me.
Yeah.
It was lovely. It was nice. Lovely. Oh no, I enjoyed that thoroughly, and it felt great. And it was like June the 21st around that lake, though, wasn't it? Like bloody people everywhere. Couldn't believe everyone else had the same idea. We get one nice day.
You're not in traffic, you are traffic.
Absolutely. That's profound.
It is
profound. I think we should have
remembering.
It is. I think we should have one of them every episode from you. Like a profound zinger.
There you go.
Yeah. No, you are, mate. So, no, that was really good. And so Penny at the moment, she's brill. She's 11 weeks today.
Hey.
And I'm still waiting for the magic 12 weeks. But I tell you what, I can feel it starting to happen. So she does kind of 6 hours now.
Nice.
After the last feed.
Yeah. That's
whenever that may be.
Yeah.
Six uninterrupted hours. Yeah, it's great. Whatever it is. Yeah, no, she's that's really good. She still does like half an hour naps, so we're racing around in the moments that she is actually down in the day. But took a little bit of advice from you guys the other day, and we kind of were doing it, but we felt more secure doing it, and that is putting her down while she's actually still awake.
Yeah.
Perhaps we know she's ready, she's a bit tired, putting her down and kind of just watching her for a sec and then seeing what happens. And yeah, it's really good. She starts to self-soothe and all that and sorts herself out. And they do that weird periodical freaking out thing with their arms as they're settling. Yeah, still only half an hour at a time. But do you know what? Earlier, I woke her up by accident, flushing the toilet or something, like vastly irresponsible in this day and age. You know, lost myself for a second, flushed the toilet, didn't I? So by the time I came downstairs, I'm walking past the baby monitor, catch it in my view, and I'm like, oh my God, like she's just lying there with her eyes boring into the camera, like she can tell that I'm looking. And I'm like, Sam, when did you put her down? Like 10, 15 minutes ago? And I'm like, she hasn't been to sleep yet. And she's like, oh no, she has. She's been fully asleep. And that's the first time, to my knowledge, that she's been woken up and not freaked out. Normally she cries if she's disturbed. Yeah. So she didn't. She actually, we watched her close her eyes again, and then she slept for even longer. She did like a 50-minute.
Yeah, that's sweet. That is when they go for a second time, go deep.
Yeah. So she did and we read about that. Like if you break their cycle slightly before they're due to wake up, it makes them sleep longer. And we've never had the bottle to do that.
No, never done it on purpose, but.
No, but it did. It worked. So anyway, really positive stuff. I'll just say we do peekaboo, and it's not very good.
It takes a while, that.
Yeah, like I hold up the muslin, the cloth or whatever, and I'm like, peekaboo. And when I look, she's elsewhere. She's like, no, she hasn't vanished.
Already,
her eyes.
Concentration on you.
Yeah. You put the thing up, and it's like you've stopped existing. And then I'm actually searching for her gaze to be like, peekaboo. What are you doing? Little knobhead. But she's no, it's amazing. So less and less kind of stressy stuff. She still freaks out occasionally, but the soy thing, we haven't had another mishap there. So everything seems to be quite settled. So not much horrendous stuff to report.
You know, it occurred to me when we were recording our first episode, that was maybe like a few days after the bad thing that happened.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm ready to talk about that as the bad thing.
Yeah, fine, yeah.
Because I think it's worth talking about. So Zoe had a fall, essentially, and it's amazing how it happened so quickly and just so mysteriously. And lots of people were very reassuring and said, oh yeah, our baby fell off the bed, and it happens around the similar time when they just start to become a bit more physically capable. And so it was about 4 months, and she still hasn't done, I'm not sure what she must have done to fall off, but she was on a changing mat, high-sided on a table, and I'd gone to the loo, and Harry had turned around to get some water because she was going to change her bum. Which we'll talk a bit more about later, and just fell off. Thank our lucky stars, she didn't land any on her head, or not a mark on her afterwards. Not a mark, not a bump, not anything. Obviously, she was crying and came bursting in, and obviously, crying is a good thing. You know that crying is a good thing. Like you hear that, don't you? Like what you don't want is quiet, woozy, confused baby, you want loud, upset, sad baby.
Yeah.
And on all of that. But yeah, there's just the feeling of it, and the guilt, and the kind of shock and the worry that she might have hurt herself, and you can't tell.
Yeah.
She can't tell you, and you
No.
kind of gently pressing different bits of her to see if anything evokes a reaction. And unfortunately nothing did, but we rang 111, and they went through a whole process, and they sort of said precautionary visit to A&E. So we went up to A&E, and they were expecting us. It was really good, actually. They're expecting us, and you go in really quick. And
that is good.
They did a full thing, and nothing wrong with her. Don't worry. Just keep an eye on her over the next sort of 12 hours. But then, like, you're putting her to sleep, you're putting her to bed, and you're like, what if she's, not going to wake up, and all of that. And that was on the Saturday. Yeah. And I think the only thing worth saying was, and the thing that kicked in, we were fortunate, we got lucky, and she's fine. The thing that's worth saying is that on Sunday night, I like went off the edge of a cliff, and I think it must have been like delayed shock. But I was, that's when it happened, you sort of deal with it, don't you? You're in like deal with it mode. And the next day we were talking about it to Harry's folks and stuff, and it was all fine. But it got to Sunday night, and I just I didn't want to talk to anyone. I felt dreadful. I felt stressed and like anxious, and it all came like pouring out. It was horrible. And it makes you it opens a window into what if they hurt themselves, or what if they got ill, or like, and all this awful stuff, and like all this fear. I don't know, man. It's worth, I don't know. It's all there, all this new stuff, this depth of emotion that I don't think I've ever been able to feel before. Scary stuff.
No, that is, I remember when you told me, I leapt into that situation, and very quickly leapt back out again. I empathized for a second and pictured it, and then I was like, no. And it's strange that's a really weird feeling.
It's getting on for a month ago now, but it still influences like decisions and what you do with her and where you put her when you go and get things. And like, she spends a lot more time on the floor now, because she cannot, like, we used to put her on the bed occasionally when we go and get something or whatever, but now you just can't. You just cannot. The time has ended. Do you know what I mean? Where you can't, even for a second.
Yeah. So I was going to say, like, do you think about, well, if that hadn't have happened, am I now behaving differently than I would have? And I don't mean in the obvious sense, as in, do you actually think about that, like, and try and counteract it and go, no, I don't want to go too far.
Yeah. All of
and
that.
be too conservative, or
you don't want to make a big deal of it and make her feel stuff. Yeah.
Because that's the kind of thing you hear about, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure I'm over it, because now, like, I can hold her quite tightly, but I do like lifting her up and down and making her smile and laugh by sort of throwing her around a bit and getting her used to sort of.
Then you've got like a firm grip, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Making sure.
Like, I'm not so scared that I wouldn't do that sort of stuff, because
I must admit, like, I think because that hasn't happened to me, and nothing like that's happened yet. And well, Penny is.
Have to,
No, I can definitely empathise. No, but Penny, I mean, she can't roll. She can't. She does tummy time very rubbishly.
You're in that phase now where just one day she can't and one day she can.
Yeah.
And it's like, it is.
I'm gonna be honest.
I don't mean to be scary, but like, you're in that danger zone now where it's like, well, she can't do that.
No,
That's
it doesn't.
Exactly where we were.
Yeah, no. I mean, it doesn't scare me. It does. It is food for thought, though. And I'm noticing, like, she's got some core strength now and stuff, and I could hold Penny under her bum by her legs against my upper body, and her upper body is kind of relaxing over my shoulder. And they can kind of like fling themselves back a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, she can like meerkat it now. Like, she's holding herself up, and that's letting me know that she's gearing up to being all sorts of mobile. So, and it won't be for a little while, but certainly the rolling thing, and we have like a little futsal puff type thing, pouffet thingy, whatever. And we've used that for the longest time as a changing mat, because it's a nice height when you sat on the sofa. You can just have her in front of you. It's multi-purpose, all that jazz. But she's getting too long for it. But also now there's the chance that she'll roll and move off it and stuff. So no, that is that. When I heard that, I think I went white for you, Like,
it's
scary.
it's in the distance now, and like I said in the first, I don't want to talk about this in episode 1 because it's quite a heavy topic. Do you know what I mean? It's fortunately nothing happened, but yeah, it was one of the dad events I wouldn't wish on, or mum and dad events I wouldn't wish on anyone really.
Well, they say babies bounce, and
loads of people have come out and said that. We dropped all of ours,
on purpose.
Once
we dropped a couple, we had to do the rest. You know what I mean?
You can see it in the future though, with like when they graze their knee and when they break an arm and all this stuff. You're like, oh god, it's just going to go right through me.
Yeah. Oh, Sam told a story about Imi, that she fell downstairs and like all the way down, like bang, bang, bang.
Oh.
And she felt horrendous, obviously, but she was fine, apparently. Like, they kind of built for it to be quite robust.
Obviously, all their bones are soft, which helps because they don't crack.
Yeah.
And babies particularly don't brace themselves because they don't have that yet. And that's quite fortunate, assuming they don't land on somewhere really, sensitive.
Well, that's the thing. It's from height, isn't it? Like, you're chucking them up to the sea and then don't catch them. Like, that the idea of that for me is like, and the other one that gets me is, and when we were walking the other day, there was like a moment where one of our feet scuffed the ground, and we were like, oh, like, and we didn't even actually say out loud what we were both like, yeah, no, that couldn't happen. But for the benefit of our listeners, you've got a baby strapped to the front of you, you fall over on them, essentially.
You're taking a hard fall as a parent there, aren't you? You're hurting yourself.
Oh yeah, like broken wrists. Do you know what I mean?
Or just
they are
spinning onto your own head, so it doesn't. You don't land on her.
I do weird things like that. Like, I think I don't do those things. I think
unnecessary.
I parkour of a weekend with Penny strapped in. No, but like the idea of a car kind of bumping into me and me being shunted, and then how would I land? That's weird.
No, it's not.
And it plays out in my head really quick. But yeah, so crazy. But no, the girls are great, aren't they?
They are good. And they know each other now, don't they? Bezies.
Best mates.
Bezies working on their own pod.
Whether they like it or not.
Yes.
They are best friends, and yeah, they'll be on a pod. They'll use the success of this one to launch their own. Tell you what, here's an obscure one for you. What song reminds you of me, and why?
Reminds me of you. Oh, there's a few. I'm not going to go Oasis and all of that because we've been there and talked about all of that. Could go Common People, couldn't I? Because we've done that drunk at karaoke a number of times, and every time we realise we don't know it. That's one of the ones I was thinking of, being let's do it. I'll tell you what it is. It could be any one of the Kooks' album. Is it Inside Out, that album? Is that what it's called?
I think so.
It's something like that. But
I don't know.
And I remember we were driving out on the road to Longton, out towards Stoke.
Yeah.
And I had my red. Do you remember that red Toyota I had? It was when we were first kicking.
Oh my god! Yeah, we were
listening to our CD in the car. Old school. Even that's old school.
Didn't you pick me up on the side of the road?
Yeah, that was another time. But yeah,
walking down Yarfield Lane,
trundling along a country road at on Monday morning. I'm off to work, and you're God knows where you've been.
I was walking home, down Yarfield Lane.
No, we drive along, and we were listening to the Kooks, and we kind of suddenly realised how strange his approach to singing is. The guy from the Kooks, got a really weird way of singing words. And we ended up doing that for years. But I think it's like that, and then I don't own way, own way from the basking. And we just obsessively did that for years. And I started doing that to Zoe, funnily enough, to make her smile. She loves it, absolutely loves it.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm going to go with any one of those Kook songs because
there's loads. Like the Universal reminds.
Is this the other way around?
That reminds me of you.
Good track that is.
That reminds me of you.
British Gas advert.
I know they ruined it. Under Pressure reminds me of you. Anything by David Bowie, because of like little impressions of us singing singing like Bowie, and doing impressions of him. But the Under Pressure comes to mind for karaoke reasons as well, because my 29th when we went to Liverpool, you arranged that surprise.
We were in the hat.
What is that the karaoke place?
Yeah.
Is that what it was called?
No. Our name was in the hat to sing that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. And we were like, we were having it large, weren't we? I mean, I'd done a whole jug of Ring of Fire before we left the hotel to go out, and like it was crazy, amazing night. We were in the cavern at one point, wrote my name on the ceiling. Like, it was a proper birthday treat from you, like to go there, and I was proper made up. It was amazing, and we went all over Liverpool, and they're still cleaning up after us. Absolute nightmare. And when we were walking home, and you were like, "Ow, mate, ow!" And I looked at you. What? You're like, "I'm all bashed up, mate. I'm all bashed up." I'm all bashed up, and I was like, "It's so funny." But no. When we thought in the cold light of day, because we were being proper aggro, being like, "Where's our song? We want to sing Under Pressure, David Bowie, Freddie Mercury. We're not leaving." And anyway, it didn't come up. And in the cold light of day, we were like, "Thank God."
Yeah.
Thank God. Like, I think either one of us would have been like, we'd have tried to do the Bowie bit. But the Freddie
looked up travesty in the dictionary and it cited.
There's a picture of us with thumbs up.
In the Hat Karaoke Club in Liverpool.
Absolute nightmare. I'm so glad that never happened.
Yeah.
And then we
keep threatening to learn it really well, don't we?
Yeah.
Sooner or later we could put
separately.
It out.
Yeah, separately. And then the moment will come. It will be on karaoke. Someone like Beth will put it in for us, because you know what she's like. And,
if we get to 100 episodes, should we just do that?
Yeah. A cappella.
Yeah. I'll have the full Ziggy makeup.
I ain't turning up. I'm doing it two octaves lower.
White vest on.
White vest. Get rid of everything else but my moustache.
Yep.
Yeah, a nice chubby Freddie. That'll go down well. The other one more. What is it called? The Stereophonics one.
There's a few.
The one. The
Bartender and the Thief.
No.
Vegas 2 times.
Vegas 2 times. All I wanted to say was, leave.
We've done that so many times. This is in ages.
It's such a
It's the best drop in any song ever, isn't it?
Yeah, like
all
if you're
the gospel singers kick in.
Yeah, we're like, leave. Ooh.
Just go and listen to Vegas 2 times by Stereophonics, and there's a proper moment in that song.
Oh, it really picks up. Like, yeah, you can. It's amazing. Yeah, great.
Does Stereophonics count as Britpop? I
looked up stuff like that. Coldplay, things like that. They are considered post, I believe.
Stereophonics. I don't know. Maybe.
Do you know what?
Late 90s, maybe. Yeah.
It's just, I think, the genre thing.
Don't look it up now. We'll come back to it.
All right. Well, I'll make a note. I'm trying to be all professional about it.
Tune in episode 72 when we talk about Stereophonics and are they Britpop?
When I finally get back to you on that one. I mean, we've already ruined it, haven't we? Because what we don't want is that dude, Stewie, popping up and being like, actually, I think you'll find that Stereophonics is actually post Britpop era and was the start of the, fuck off. Don't want your bloody life story. Get off it. How have you got back on here? We blocked you. Bloody bastard. Tell you what. Anyway, that's that. Should we get into some meat?
Yeah, we probably should.
Should we get into some meat? So today's episode, like we've said probably 12 times, the changing thing. Figuratively, literally. That pink gin's settling in. Kicking my arse, this is.
Just a state of mind out.
It's really not. Oh, shit. Oh. Yeah. So, nappies. Nappies, mate. How quick did you take to it?
Not too bad. I think there's the basics and then there's like the finer art of it. So yeah. I changed a few with my nephew years earlier.
Not the other day.
No, he's 13.
Doesn't like it.
That's how many years ago it was. But like, it wasn't a completely alien concept. But like, I think it's only later in the process of having changed thousands of them now that there's like little tricks about, you know, like pulling the lining out and all that kind of stuff, you know, unfolding the little frills around the side to kind of make the seal and all of that.
These are good tips.
Yeah, and like now, the trick is how you put them on when you've got a baby doing somersaults at the same time.
Oh yeah,
like she can, like, because you hold their legs up like with one hand, don't you? You get both her legs in one hand and hold them up to sort of wipe and clean up and all that. And if I hold her legs up, she'll just like, she's got core strength now where she'll just end up like on her head with like in a huge arc. She's almost off the ground. I'm just holding her by
her head comes up to meet you the other way. She ends up standing on your hand like a statue. Tonight actually, we're putting her down tonight. It was the most dramatic nappy change I've had to deal with yet, because she was literally doing a full Olympic gymnastic routine on the mat. 9.5, 8
ribbons.
with the big finish to all four sides of audience.
Yeah.
Nice. We had a nature change, didn't we, on the walk around the lake?
We did that out in the woods.
That was ace.
That went well. She at one point she was grabbing moss off the tree, and I had to stop her eating it. But
stuffing that in there, down her nappy for later.
Keep that. Yeah. Smoke that later.
Smack a bit of that later. And you're like, just don't tell your mum. We'll have that later. Getting a nice bit of moss. Penny can't grab things yet, really. She grabs your finger dead hard, like her life depends on it. Mm. It's like she only has the squeeze, but not the release once she gets going. No, the nature change was great, apart from the tab on one side just popped off, like as we were pretty much, sorted. And that's the other thing. Walking out and about with couples, two couples that have got babies, that's brilliant, isn't it? That's really cool. That's nice.
If other people haven't got a baby, you're like slowing them down a bit, aren't you? It feels like you might be and all of that. But we're both dealing with shenanigans at different times.
Yeah. But I tell you what I did notice, which is why I said it, is that you had dealt with Zoe, you guys had managed it, and then you were off walking a little bit, trying to sort her out. She's getting all upset. Mm. And I was like, we're going to try and do this reasonably quickly because you can't stop. Like, you'd be just off over the hill. Sorry, crying baby here. I'll see you later. And I'll be like, remember Leo?
Never see him again. You'll always be 500 metres behind me.
I know. I just I didn't change the nappy quick enough one time. And never saw him again. Walked off. Harry is distraught. Shell of a woman. Walked off with her baby. But no, these we're having problems with these tabs. They're not quite as sticky. But yeah, really loved that. Out in nature, felt natural, like the cavemen.
Yeah.
But no, I tell you what, preparation is key.
Oh, it is. It's key.
Right. It becomes second nature after a while, but little things like taking the nappy off and you haven't got the next one ready and unfolded and ready to whip straight in.
Yeah,
like,
that's not good.
If and occasionally happens if you're a little bit, you haven't got your head in the game, you might do it, and it's like, fuck.
Do you use kitchen roll at all?
No.
Ah, right. So we've always got kitchen roll. Right. That's my technique. So like, open up the dirty nappy and then like put a sheet of kitchen roll between her and the dirty nappy while I'm cleaning her up.
Saucy.
Then if there's a live wee or whatever, it's still the old nappy with the kitchen roll acting as a barrier, if you like. Mm-hmm. And then once all that's sorted, then changing over to the new nappy. I read something somewhere, it's like put the new nappy under the dirty nappy.
What are they on about?
Nah, I'm not having that.
No, don't listen to that, guys.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I read that in the Sun.
We get through kitchen roll like something else.
Well, no, we don't do that. So basically, that's interesting. I reckon if I'd have heard that early enough, I'd have probably done that. Mm. But I think now...
Are you still using your caddy?
What's that?
The nappy caddy that I bought you as a gift.
Yeah.
Oh, this is awkward.
No, 100%. Sorry, I didn't realise it was I thought you meant like a golfer has a caddy and he walks around and he's like, I recommend this nappy, sir. She's outgrown that one, so here you are. You get a lot more soakage with that one. Yeah, no, that gift was amazing.
Yeah,
we still use it.
That was a game changer for us because you put all the stuff in it. So we got nappies and cotton buds and
put her in it.
Creams. She's in there.
She's in there.
Bits that you carry in. Clothes. We keep all like 2 or 3 sets of clothes in there, and then you just carry that around the house with you.
Yeah.
So you never not got everything you need.
Absolutely. And like you said, always make sure that it's replenished, or don't be the one that hasn't replenished it.
Yeah, don't be that person.
Guys, that's a great mantra actually for everything. Don't be the one that hasn't done the thing.
But you carry that caddy around with the mat. Like obviously the typical one is upstairs at the end of the day and it's all up there. And in the morning do a change and then take it all down and it's all there, it's all together.
It goes everywhere. It goes everywhere, that does. It is brilliant. Thank you. It was invaluable.
It wasn't valuable. So
it's so
you're
cool.
Welcome.
No, honestly though, like, because Sam was like, "Oh, do we need that?" And I was like, "Well, it's a gift, and I love a practical thing. I think it'll be great." And we have. She hasn't looked back. She carries it everywhere, even when we don't need to. So
in the pub.
But she's in the pub with it. It's illegal to be in the pub, but she's in there with a caddy. Okay, we really shouldn't be in here, miss. I recommend we leave. So, muslins, and I'm just going to say at that point, when Sam first said to me, because I was like, my sister wants to know what to get us when we were waiting for Penny to arrive. And Sam's like, muslins. And I'm like, what? And I had never heard that before. So if there's anyone listening now that hasn't, it's muslins, not to be confused with Muslims. So, and it's a baby tea towel, basically. And it's multi-purpose. They're amazing. And you need like 1,000 of them.
You can't fathom how important they are until a few weeks in when you realise how important they are. Like I'm looking at all these cloths we're collecting. I'm like, what do we need all these cloths for? Oh yeah,
they're all fine
cloths. But no, they
can't move for them.
Bee's knees, aren't they?
They are literally the bee's knees.
One over each shoulder quite a lot of the time.
Oh, if only I'd think to do that. No, I've normally got it on the shoulder. She isn't. And then I pay the price. But no, it's funny the other day, wasn't it? Because in the theme of preparations, you having any problems with the muslin distribution, or what was Harry alluding to?
There's a bit of a mantra going around the house at the minute. Where baby goes, muslins go, because obviously baby gets transferred to different places, and she should never be more than, I don't know, 60 centimeters away from 2 muslins. And, occasionally, like about 4 times ever, I've moved the baby without moving the muslins, and then she's like dribbles everywhere and where's the muslins? Where baby goes, muslin goes. So there's been a bit of that. Been a bit of pass-ag expression.
Pass-ag. Pass-ag, I like that. We're abbreviating everything, aren't we?
Sure.
Ironically. Or not. But yeah, so the flip side to that is I'm the one who comes down in the morning, and where little HQ is, where Sam sits with Penny for feeding and stuff on the one side of the sofa, I dutifully lay out all manner of different muslins, all various sizes,
patterns,
different patterns, colours, all for her preference. And within 5 minutes of being downstairs, she's yelling at me, "Where's the muslin? Where's the?" And then I have to respond with the urgency that she seems to be spilling out at me. That and I don't say like, well, there were 12 right there.
What you should do is you should get 2 muslins and attach them by a long piece of string, and then like feed it through Sam's coat or jacket, and then she'll always have them, wouldn't she?
Like mittens on strings.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Because at this stage, I'm now producing them like a magician from my sleeve. Do you know what I mean? Like I pull them from everywhere because, they are invaluable. God. The tab placement on nappies, by the way, guys, they normally put little markers, don't they, on the front? I just wanted to mention that because I was a little bit slapdash to start with. And I think that's because, I don't know if you had this actually, mate. I felt really, I felt like when I was changing her, I had to be really urgent. And that's gone away a little bit. Like, that kind of, she doesn't like it so much at the time.
Yeah, I think you just make it like changing generally, so it's quite chilled. generally it's got to the point where I quite enjoy it. And, you can have quite a lot of fun during it. And actually, it isn't, I agree with you, it isn't just that kind of systematic business now. It's kind of like, we'll do this, and I might just spend a little bit of time. And also, actually, I had it in my head for a while that, like, sometimes it might be nice that she's not wearing a nappy for a while. Do you know what I mean? Like, get air, it can't be great just be constantly covered up sort of thing. So it's like, well, why rush putting another one on? Put a new one under her so there's something there. And then just, I don't know, play a game or sing a song or whatever, and actually have some fun with it.
Yeah, I'm in that place with it now. It's just that, like, initially that kind of how it was so urgent, I felt like I had to really respond, and maybe on some level, like, being quick at it meant I was good at it or something, and competent. And I don't know if it's because Sam's done it before a lot and had a previous baby, not a previous child still here. But, like, I don't know whether it was like, I have to be good at this, I have to be seen to be good at this. That's all gone away now. We take our time and make sure it's right, blah, blah, blah.
Do you, because I got another tip off my mum, and she's like, in the day, like, you talk to them and you sing songs, you can have fun and you give them toys and all of that, we change them. But at night, like, my mum was like, don't talk to them, don't really give them eye contact. Because you don't want to, like, stimulate loads of brain activity at night. You want there to be a difference between day and night. That was my mum's theory anyway. But that's quite hard, because what I found was that then at night, when you're just trying to do it kind of a little bit more calmly and not really engage in lots of fun in the middle of the night, Zoe would respond by, like, trying to charm you and, like, smile and coo and all this stuff, and you really just want to go, oh, hello.
Start chucking her about.
Turning on the charm because you've got a bit cold.
Oh, she's learning to manipulate you already. What do you reckon?
Got me wrapped around the littlest of little fingers.
That's really interesting. I think we naturally try and do that stuff. Like, I'll
comatose at night anyway.
Yeah, like, she's like shaking me, trying to get me to wake up. No, she's we kind of do that. I think I've mentioned in the past about a little bit of a routine when it comes to getting her to sleep, or particularly at night. There's a bit of music where we sway to, things like that, a little bit.
Nice.
But Sam, so right now what happens is Sam goes up and takes her up, and it's to a dark room. Feeding happens. There's definitely a difference. Like, we use a lot of white noise, which really helps to settle her. But she doesn't use it at that point. She goes to bed without. So when I go up, I have to, I'm like a cat, or as much as like a cat as I can be. But yeah, to a degree, I think that we naturally do it. But I'll mention it to Sam because it sounds like good advice and it makes sense. It makes sense,
doesn't it?
Yeah. Like, why not? Like,
it's not easy, though, mate. It's not easy.
Well, imagine you're about to. Well, yeah, like, you're going to go to bed, and then somebody comes in and starts going, "Oh, hello," and like, like messing and poking. And
I would call the police.
You're like, yeah, you would. So no, that's interesting. I think we'll wrap up this subject of just talking about the changing things. I think, do you know about the fold down thing, don't you? When they've pooed with their clothes.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, it was Sam who kind of made quite a big point about that at some point in the past. I remember, when H was pregnant or something on Facebook, that Sam was saying that the realization she had when you could take their clothes off downwards, as opposed to like pooey clothes up over their face.
All up in their grill.
Do you know, though, because I started doing that, because obviously a few spills and spillages along the way, and started doing that, I actually forgot how to take her clothes off upwards. Like, I couldn't work it out again. Like, I just, like, what do I do? Like, and I literally couldn't get past. It took me a long time to remember the mechanics to lift the clothes upwards.
So she's just doing it herself.
And I don't know about you, I spend a lot of time really thinking about the mechanics of arms. Does an arm bend this way? Before I do it, is the arm, does that work?
Because they're very supple, but they're not like Barbies, are they?
No, they're not.
Or whatever.
Stretch arm.
Stretch arm. That was a good toy. Oh man, yeah, I used to love them. No, the arm, you get it in the one side, like with the cardi, and like lifting them off the mat or whatever. and like whipping it behind them and then getting the arm in. Little things like that. Having your hand down their sleeve from the cuff end.
That's a big one, especially
grabbing their hand
on a double sleeve scenario, because obviously there's friction between the sleeves, isn't there?
Yep.
So if you don't, that was my kryptonite at one point.
It's hard, and I struggle to get my bare bloody hands in some of those cuffs to get all the way down. So sometimes I resort to stuffing her arm in and like shunting the
hoping for the best, basically,
like shaking her upside down until it all comes on in the right place. Clearly a joke, bloody hell. So yeah, that one though is a big one. Like, can you imagine like painting upwards with all manner of
you need so pull the old over the shoulder downwards, easy peasy, isn't it? It will save your life, honestly. Zoe started to occasionally get fussy about when you put something overhead, particularly a long sleeve, something or other. She doesn't like the feeling of being constricted. It's quite useful because she now shoves her arms through long sleeve things like for you, because she
nice.
learned that. But when it comes to the second arm, she can get really upset, and it makes me wonder if I'm going to have like a really angry 2-year-old when you're trying to dress them. But
you never know. You just don't know. But I mean, Penny she pulls her arms away. So I've got that. I'm trying to get at her hand to pull it through her sleeve. And it's like a turtle's head going in a shell. Like she pulls her arms into her own body. And I'm like, give me your fucking arm. Like, I mean, the amount of patience you end up having to have. Just give me your arm.
Yeah,
give me your arm.
Just goes in.
Give me your fucking arm.
When you're leaning over and your back aches.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what the best one is though, is when you get into like you've nearly done and then they wee everywhere.
Yeah.
The old live wee.
I think I said that on either the first episode or something about I won't go into it again, but it was like the triple quadruple whammy.
It's like snakes and ladders, isn't it? You're just back to square one. They're covered in wee.
I'm on square 97, ended up on square 3.
Yeah.
Flipped the board, swallowed the die in anger. Like, no, I was not happy. I was so fucking not happy as well. Like, and you can't direct it at the baby.
No.
It all just goes inward and just fizzles out into something you deal with later.
Curse your own luck.
Yeah, I'll go out and buy a certain car in 20 years. That's how I'll deal with that.
No, you won't.
No, I won't, because I can't afford it.
Send them to uni.
You've got to send them to uni. Oh my God! Please be a performer.
50 grand a year by then.
Oh my God! I know.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about future girls, won't we? At some point, guys.
Let's do that.
We'll talk about. So, last thing then for today, we'll wrap up with, basically how we feel like we've changed as men. We are the changing men. We've learned how to change babies.
Built on shifting sands.
But how? Yeah. Oh, I love that lyric. And we have changed, haven't we? What do you reckon is?
I hope so.
I don't know if I want to pin you down. I certainly don't want to pin down myself in like what's the biggest change. But if we could maybe discuss what do you reckon since the baby? It can be before the baby, which has informed how you are with the baby, which would have been different from the past. I know it's a tricky question, but.
It is a tricky question. You go first.
Okay.
Let's buck with the tradition.
Okay, fair play. So for me, I feel like one of the biggest things that's happened is I have a strange relationship with the idea of being a father, because my dad split with my mum when I was like 5, and he went away. He was around for a little bit, but essentially by the time I was 10, he was gone. And I had a stepfather that kind of came on the scene not long after my dad and my mum split up. And that's not always been the best relationship and stuff. So I think as a result of sort of turbulent upbringing at times, not always the best, excuse me, without going into too much unsavory detail or whatever, I think potentially through my teens and early 20s, slightly broken, a little bit. So I think I've previously mentioned in the last episode when we talked about relationships that or even the second episode when we were on about how we knew we were ready and our partners and compatibility and stuff. It's all wrapped up in. It's only very recently that I've truly not had a problem being insecure or feeling vulnerable. And my go-to response in the past has been to push back or rebel, which I've mentioned already, and to shut down and withdraw, but also to have a certain amount of unfeeling. And what's different now, and it did start with, I mean, over the previous relationships, I've dabbled in and out of improving myself with this sort of stuff, but it's played into a lot of the problems that I've had. But with Sam, I think it really clicked. And what I'm trying to say is that being vulnerable and being open and being honest without any, I don't know, ulterior motives or weird games or anything like that, or less immaturity and stuff, that I've kind of developed this ability to be more open and loving and have like this new level of empathy, which wasn't always accessible to me. And it's interesting, we kind of mentioned earlier, but like the thing with the fall and Zoe, that was a real eye-opening moment for me. And obviously I think that the reason it's pertinent to this conversation, this podcast, is that since Penny, I've never felt, whoa, that huge rush of raw kind of sympathy, empathy, whatever you want to call it, to that level. Like, and I think it's being able to unconditionally love something without worrying about that. Am I making any sense?
Yeah, you are, and it does.
You're always, when you fall for somebody, or when you're in a relationship and you fall hard, and it means everything. There's like, that's vulnerable. Vulnerability is healthy, isn't it? You go through that. If you stand to lose something, then that's it's healthy to realize that that's valuable. You don't want to lose it, and most people go through that. Having a daughter that I unconditionally love, that feeling of unconditional, and I mean, I have it with Sam, but she's my daughter, you know what I mean? And at the moment, I don't think I'm going to do anything to ruin that. Like, it feels really liberating and empowering, and I hope I'm not meandering around and messing this up too much.
The thing is, I think what you've said makes a lot of sense, and it kind of set a light bulb off in my head in a way about that kind of feeling of empathy and all of that stuff. And I think, I don't know, I find myself walking past other families and just smiling at them, because I'm just like, I get, you know what I mean, and all that sort of stuff.
Newfound perspective and stuff.
Yeah, and actually, the stuff I used to get kind of worked up about, be that kind of politically, or be that something in the news, or be that something that someone's doing or said, I found I'm a bit more mellow about all that sort of stuff. I'm a bit less spiky about things that used to get spiky about, and it's probably a bit of perspective and a bit of prioritization or whatever. I don't have the energy, maybe, but
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, used to get on my high horse about certain things and certain issues, and now obviously have your principles, but it just a bit more chilled out about sort of stuff.
That's cool.
Probably a good thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's still being passionate about things, but not having it be like, like you say, needing to feel like you need to get on the high horse or anything like that. I don't know, like having like stuff matters now. Like, it's weird, like, and that did start with Sam as well, but it definitely now Penny's here. Things matter now. Like, I think I'd written myself off a little bit at times, and that feeds into treating myself not that well at times, I suppose, with various things. But I don't know, maybe not feeling worth the kind of, I don't know. It's a tangled web psychologically. I don't want to get into all that now, but yeah, stuff matters now. And I think I said before in another episode, stuff makes sense.
Yeah, well, there's permanence somewhere in your life, like, and Harry and I joke about this. It's like, well, we have to talk to each other forever now, come what may. Do you know?
Yeah, I mean? We've made that joke.
It's like, no matter what happens, you and I are gonna, be in some kind of relationship with each other.
Yeah, got you.
Forever. And there is a truth about that, in that as much as, you know, Harry and I are happily married and it's all good, and she's, you know, she never ceases to amaze me, but relationships can come and go.
Yeah.
And they have done. We've experienced that. We both have.
Yeah.
But the permanence of having your own kid, I mean, I don't know. That's a strange one. That's new.
It is new.
Because I suppose you've got your own family that you were born with and grow up with, and that's a permanence, like siblings, isn't it?
It's different.
But it is different.
It's different. It's different. And then,
and this you've done, is it? It's not something that you've a decision you've made, whereas this is a decision, or to a degree, that you've made. And it's that kind of complete permanence of it, as much as anything can be permanent. But
and it changes you. You're always now, no matter what. And again, this when I got with Sam, I did start, you know, and I did always try and do this in my relationships. Think about the other person as well as me. That's how it works, right? You're no longer just you. You're, you know, two halves of a whole. But really with Sam, that definitely was the case. Like, more so, I'd try and put her more, you know, more so than me. But yeah, having Penny is, there's something that's, I'm always thinking about what's best for her. And none of this is original, of course, what we're saying.
No.
Let's not, you know, obviously we know that. It's, sorry to gush, but it's amazing. I think it feels good, feels healthy, and I'm, you know, eternally reassured now that the feelings of love are there and stuff like that. It may well be that kind of in my mid-30s now, creeping on the door of middle age, I maybe okay, you know, and it feels good. And I think I am a changed man.
Come full circle. Beautiful. Poetic.
Yeah. And I think what's amazing is that we don't know what we're doing, do we, mate? No. We're not experts. And we meander through stuff. You and Harry ask each other a million questions each day, which you don't know the answers to. Me and Sam do the same. We don't know what we're on about, but we do as well. Like, we're her parents, and it's exciting, and I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid that we decided to create a life and that we have to do that now. I'm all in. Great. Do you know what I mean? And that feels amazing. I'm so glad it does as well. You know, it's nearly at the 12-week mark as well, mate. That magic. She's just gonna get herself dressed, isn't she?
Yeah, tuck herself in.
Yeah, off to school, because she's a genius.
Yeah,
she's a genius. I was doing This Is My Monster book, where it's got all different bumpy bits in it, because we read to her so that she'll be a proper genius.
Yeah,
and she pointed at the mouse at the right time.
There you go.
Case in point. Genius.
Zoe gets cross when I don't let her eat the books. But
she'll get there.
She's also a genius.
She's going to be a food expert.
Oh, yeah. She devours literature.
Yeah. I can't compete with that.
No,
that's too good. It's too late.
Come on, mate. Should we wrap this up now?
Yeah, that's it.
Time. It's got to be.
It's got to be. Yeah, if you've nothing more to add,
no.
That was lovely. So yeah, just quickly then, next episode will be about all things typical. So things that are widely universally experienced, and we're going to get all into the nitty-gritty, potentially a little bit sciencey, because we're both men of science, aren't we?
We are.
So yeah, come back next time to have your socks well and truly blown off. Lights.